I, of course, became a member of this industry when it was still a cottage industry. And opportunity was wide open because everything, the industry was growing at a tremendous pace, and so all you had to do was just jump in there and go with it, which is what I did. When I found market research, I almost found my nirvana.
One of my favorite stories is going to San Angelo, Texas, because when we went to the San Angelo airport, the Hertz man came out and took off his Hertz cap and put on Trans-Texas hat, then took that off and put on his FedEx hat, and then took that off, and I said, well, if he's going to fly that plane or he's going to do something, we're out of here. But before we left, we had to cash our checks. So we went to the bank. And we had to meet with the president of the bank to be sure that this check was okay. And he said, who's Procter & Gamble?
Everybody smoked. Everybody smoked. I mean, you would walk into a conference and it would be a smoke-filled room. You walked into your office and it would be a smoke-filled office. But we had this one interviewer who worked for the company for over 40 years. And she had this beehive. And she was a chain smoker. So she would have a cigarette going in the ashtray. She would have one in her hand. And she always had a pencil, shoved into her beehive. One day, all of a sudden, we're sitting there, and somebody smelled something burning. She had taken the cigarette, and she was so intent. She had this whole pile of questionnaires, red and blue pencil, and she's editing and checking her. And all of a sudden, she was so intent on what she was doing, instead of taking the pencil and putting it into her beehive, she put the cigarette into her beehive, and her whole top of her hair caught on fire.
I do actually remember my dad saying, this is a business and you need to move it out of the house. And so from then on she went to smaller office space, clearly than we have now, and then urged her really back in the 60s to buy her own building, which we did.
Became president in '77. It was about that time that we got a central office. We didn't have one before then. And Harriet came to visit me one day. And like I told you, I worked at home. At the time she came to visit, I was working in the basement at my house. And she came down and she looked around. She says, "You're running MRA from here?"
Because the industry was at a completely different state of development in the 70s. In the 1970s, the marketing research industry was still an emerging business. There were a lot of very, very small companies that had mostly been, in data collection I should say, that had been mostly founded by women. And I think that was in response to the fact that at the time, women didn't have the career opportunities that they do today. And so marketing research was something that was open and available to them and embraced them.
Also, I remember the Friday night social event, the last night event of the June conference, where we all got dressed up. It was a black tie affair. I wish we'd go back to that.
We used to do a lot of work for Levi's, who's a San Francisco company, and they used to do a lot of jeans testing, which basically they were blue jeans, and having people come in and try them on, and a lot of kids they were called fit tests. Well, I remember once when I was working in the mall, we had a gentleman come in and brought his kid in for the jean testing and said, "But will it hurt when you have to check out my jeans and her jeans.
I think they do a lot. First of all, I think I owe part of my career and every time I get paid to the MRA, because if it wasn't part of that, I don't think I would have had the networking to allow me the opportunity to get some of the jobs that I've gotten.
Be an exhibitor at the organizations. So this allowed us not only to meet and greet, but to have the ability to present our services to those who are interested in it from joining the network standpoint, but also those who are providers of qualitative research.
My fondest hope, and I hope this happens before I leave this earth, that all of the organizations can come together and work together for the betterment of the profession.
Now in my current job, I exhibit at marketing conferences all over the world, Canada and the U.S., and I always tell people, and it's not because I'm prejudiced, but they say, what done, especially when the foreign people are coming to the U.S. to exhibit, they say, what conferences should we really think about? And I always say the MRA. And the reason I say it is not because I was an honorary life member there, but I always say at the MRA, people show up, they are more focused on what they do, and they are genuinely there to find other people that do similar work.
3 recommendations would be join, join, and join.
The industry has changed dramatically. Back in the 1960s, the industry was far less sophisticated in their business prowess and how they did business. Things have changed multifold, and we are different businesses today than we were 25 or 35 years ago. People are far more sophisticated, businesses are more sophisticated, clients are more sophisticated.
I find it an educational process that clients are coming to us and they're really looking not just for research, but they're looking for guidance and advice, and they need to know how this research is going to impact their businesses. What does it mean? You collected this research, now what does it mean and what do I do with it? So I think it's become much more of an educational process on the reverse end, where we're training and educating them versus them educating and mentoring us.
What would we have done without MRA? Gee, happy birthday, MRA.